guys, kind of an impromptu video here. I wanted to make sort of a video response to Ryan Doris's vlog that just released like 15-20 minutes ago. I literally just got done watching it. At the end of his vlog, I'll post it up here somewhere if you haven't seen it. At the end of his vlog, he kind of just gave a little shout out to everyone that says if you want to make a response to this, he would love to hear it. So I figured I would, and I just love the video and his message about it, so I figured I would kind of give my 2 cents on it. But yes, if you haven't watched the video, I'd recommend you actually first watch the video, or else what I'm saying is not going to make sense. But the premise behind his whole video is talking about outwork. And this does get thrown around a lot, especially like kind of in the online community. And a lot of people like to knock it, especially because Lane Norton's become like a really, I don't know what to call it, but people have been bashing Lane a little bit more than normal lately. So people kind of always like to harp on like the outwork people, and oh, how do you know if you're actually working harder than somebody else, and you're just egotistic and all this crap. And again, I've talked about that in other videos, talking about, accusing other people of taking stuff and they have better genetics than me, and that kind of cop-out that people tend to do. And honestly, it usually comes from weakness. It comes from people having self-doubt in themselves. So when they see others achieving things, they're like, oh man, well, I can't reach that, so at least I can do is, make fun of the people who are, That's kind of where that stems from. So when you see people who are like, they make fun of the outwork, or they make fun of the people who work hard, people who do that tend to, they always have a fallback. If they don't reach a goal, they don't succeed, they can always say, well, I didn't really try that hard, or I really didn't want it. That's always kind of their fallback. Whereas if you put your all into something and you fail, you're more vulnerable because you put everything into it. But as anyone who's probably done that before can attest to, if you really put all of what you have into something, you usually get it. Of course, there are some limitations there, but you usually get it. And B, even if you don't, whatever that end goal may be, if you don't reach it, the satisfaction you have from just kind of pouring everything you have into something is usually worth more than the goal itself. Like, again, I was kind of relate back to sports and bodybuilding because that's what I've been competitive at. It's always been a big passion for me. Like, when I went to my show, and of course my goal for my show was to win my class, the novice class, and I did that. But also my goal was to come in extremely lean, do the best I could with my prep, hit my macros, and not miss any workouts and all of that stuff. And I was more proud of the fact that I was doing that, that I actually met that goal for myself, as opposed to what others were putting on me, or first, second, or third place. I did win my class. Don't get me wrong, but if I came in totally peeled and did 100% of what I needed to do, and I got third, I wouldn't have thought of that as like a failure. The gratification that I got from meeting my own expectations always succeeds the gratification I may get from like a trophy or someone else saying this. I can relate this back to school as well. People are always like, oh, you have this GPA, you're doing so good, and oh, you're about to have your undergraduate degree and all this stuff. But I've always felt in the mind of like, I need to do something. I'm not a big fan of people who just have like, their doctorate or their master's or their bachelor's or whatever, and cool, you have a piece of paper, but what have you done? What have you accomplished? That's what I'm about. So when people give me compliments like that about whatever it is, I was a little bit more goal-oriented and outcome-oriented with my thinking. So again, it's kind of a roundabout way of getting to this, but like in Ryan's vlog, he talked about the outwork movement is just that. It's not me versus you versus him, and if we all line up, I'm going to get this job. Don't get me wrong, I'm going to try to beat your ass too if that's the case, but it's more of a case of I know what my capabilities are, and I have confidence that if I do everything that I possibly can to get somewhere, that I'm going to get there. So Well, there's a lot of people trying to think of it as an egotistic thing. It's really not at all. It's about 180 degrees from that, because I could care less what this guy is doing and care less what this guy's doing, because I'm so focused on what I'm going to do. I could, again, I could care less what other people are doing, because if you're working harder than me, cool, but I possibly couldn't work any harder. You see what I'm saying? So that's what the outwork is really trying to show. It's that I'm giving my all to whatever it is. So if I say I'm outworking in the gym, that's not saying if there's 10 people in the gym, I'm working the hardest. I may be, or I may not be, but it doesn't matter, because I'm working as hard as I need to and then I want to for that goal. Same thing, if there's 50 people in a class and I'm trying to get 100% in that class, I'm not just going to arbitrarily study for 5 more hours than somebody else just so I can say I outwork them. I'm going to study as hard as I humanly can until I think I can nail everything that I can on that test to get the best grade that I can. That's what outwork means to me. When I'm a prep coach and I have all my clients and things like that, I don't go and look at other coaches and say, oh, well, what are they doing? I'm going to try to do a little bit more than them. I just try to put 100% effort so that every single one of my clients can have the best knowledge possible with training and nutrition, and that's what I consider outworking. It's doing the best that I possibly can, and like I said, with my kind of analogy with bodybuilding, giving my all to whatever I'm doing, and that's going to be much more rewarding and will probably lead to more success than what other people set for you. Oh, you have this degree, oh, you earn this amount of money, all of that crap. Whereas if you don't really think of limitations. I talked about this in my car vlog about, I'm not even sure it was titled, but just about being in the moment and enjoying what you're doing. And that's what outwork also kind of comes into play, because the outwork mentality, which I definitely think I would like to say I embrace and I have, you're never allowed to be content. You're never allowed to be like, okay, well, I've done this, now I can relax. The outwork mentality is that you're always trying to achieve more. You're always trying to beat your previous best. So having that kind of mentality, it is also important to enjoy what you're doing. So you're not just kind of in this spin of driving yourself crazy trying to achieve goals and never really enjoying things. And the last point I really wanted to make, sorry, this is kind of a ramble, I didn't have like notes or anything, but the last point I really wanted to make is that the outwork movement, like Ryan kind of mentioned it as, will be intimidating to people. And I don't know if he mentioned this, because there is just so much contentment, because it's easy to be content, and I'm so sick of that. It's horrible. It's infectious. I can't stand being around it, honestly. People are content with their situation, and contentment, I believe, is bad. I don't care if you're a CEO, and you're making $100,000 a year or $1 million a year. I would still like to see that person want to achieve more, want to help more people, whatever you're doing. I would like to see them achieve more as opposed to being content. So I'm not just, singling out people who may be less successful, whatever you want to call them, as being content, but just the idea of being content and being okay with whatever you have is really just, I think, a bad mindset. So that's what I've kind of embraced with the outwork mentality. Again, you do have to balance this with being in the present moment and enjoying things, but also understanding, like, okay, how much more can I do? How much more can I achieve? Because with each successive step, you do tend to just enjoy life more, and that's what I've kind of noticed. So that's my little rant. I'm not sure how long this video was, but I wanted to kind of give some quick thoughts on Ryan's video. And Ryan's a super cool dude. I know he doesn't like people saying this, but he's been incredibly inspirational for me, not just bodybuilding wise, but just in general, just being a super cool role model. And I swear, like, every one of his vlogs that come out, I'm just like, we're like on the same damn page. So it's super cool to see that kind of mindset with everything, like I said, not just bodybuilding. And I do kind of have that feeling that he talks about. He hates being called like inspirational and stuff, because I get messages like that even from time to time. Not a lot, don't get me wrong, but it still just kind of, brings me back, like, wow, I can inspire someone. And I try to tell people, like, that's cool. It's cool that I inspire you or that whatever, but make sure that it's more my message that's inspiring and not me as a person that's inspiring you, if that makes sense. So that's kind of my 2 cents on the outwork movement. Again, Ryan, if you do see this, keep up the hard work, bro. Keep up the cool vlogs and a great video. So until next time, guys, Take care.